two things. Imperfect action is still action. And then my dad always had a quote that the anxiety caused by the unknown is always worse than dealing with the reality.
Garrett, welcome to the Land and Everything Else podcast. I'm so happy to have you today. Garrett is one of the first professionals that walked up to me at a conference. Where were we? In Denver at FPA Next Gen?
Yes, FPA
and he said,
Next
hey,
Gen.
I've got your ag designation. And I was like, hey, let's take a selfie. And then from
Absolutely.
there it was history. But Garrett, thank you so much for joining us. I wonder if you could tell us a little bit about who you are and where you work and what you do.
My name's Garrett Jackson. I'm a trust officer and financial planner for the trust company. I run our Lawrence, Kansas office. We're headquartered out of Manhattan, Kansas, just shy of 2 billion. We haven't crossed the 2 billion mark just yet.
All right, 2 billion, we're getting there.
So we're a trust company. We're independent. So then we are working with everybody. We walk and talk like an RIA, where we can work with wealth management clients. We also can serve in those after-death capacities or even incapacities with conservatorships, trusteeships, things like that.
Wonderful. And so, Garrett, we share a bit of overlap, and so I wanted to kind of bring that to our group. And I understand you went to college at financial planning background?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I went to Kansas State University and studied in the personal financial planning degree program. It's not really what I started at Kansas State.
Yeah.
So I did my first semester, came from a really small town in Kansas, and all I could really decide was I wanted to help people. So of course I immediately went to, I need to be a doctor to do that.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So went through my chem and my bio classes and just wasn't really liking it. And then I was introduced to personal financial planning and just found my seat. I like working through complex problems. I like talking through things with, especially educating people on, complex topics.
Sure.
So finance was a great spot for that.
So talk to me a little bit about, we are here at the Land Expo and you're here at the Land Expo. I didn't know you were going to be here at the Land Expo. And so what brought you here in the world of trust and what you do? Where does ag fit in that world? Yeah,
well, I mean, being based out of central Kansas, coming from small town roots, ag is everywhere there. We see it in trust relationships. We see it in working with active clients. It's my passion. So I grew up, my family ran a small feedlot, watched, I believe my grandpa passed away and we were underwater. So Dad worked a lot of his life with very little pay, very little incentive just to get the family farm back out from that leverage. And that's really where I show up to this. So I got an ag business minor at K-State just with that passion and Land Investment Expo wanting to really expand my knowledge on how to work with either ag producers or individuals that want to get involved in the ag space.
Well, it's a great place to learn about producers and individuals getting involved. So kind of pivoting to what you do professionally and how that plays into the world of trust. So I understand that you work in a trust department, run a trust office. So can you share a little more about what you're doing on that end?
Yeah. So, trust officer doesn't really have two similar days.
Okay.
A single phone call, single email could kind of derail that day regardless of what else is on the calendar. So it's really meeting the needs of those trust beneficiaries through that trust lens, through the Kansas Trust Code as well, of course, but also working with individual clients to help understand their retirement goals, understand their succession goals, and working with them every step of the way. So we're working with, young accumulators all the way through kind of final stage large gifting and that real fine-tune estate planning.
And so when you get into that world, do you find kind of the rural agriculture clients coming your way as well? Or is it mostly kind of an urban, or is it a mix?
It's a mix, especially with where we're located. I would say we've been talking a lot about what expansion could look like for our company, and we talk about Walmart towns.
Okay.
So this concept of where do all these small rural communities come together to meet, go grocery shopping, go find professional services, things like that. So we've located ourselves in a couple of those towns, and that was really my background growing up. We had to go 45 minutes to any real service outside of the local Dollar General. So we find those clients, a lot of times there has to be some triggering event for a lot of those rural clients to come in. They're not as savvy of an investor that you might see in an urban setting. So, heaven forbid somebody passes away, and now there's this untimed succession plan, tax issues, investment issues that bring them to us.
So sometimes there's a pivot point, and then they come to you, and from there you can help serve that family. Talk to me a little bit about, you said earlier, every day's a little different. And what are some of the days that are memorable? Don't give away any client info, but
Absolutely.
Share a couple of real memorable days of your career so far.
So we got appointed on a executorship where the individual had passed away and nobody knew for several days, potentially a month.
Oh, no.
So we step in after insurance has come in to clean the home, and now we've found, not in the best neighborhood where he was living. So vehicles had been stolen, property had been vandalized, kind of a drop everything, and you got to go secure that property and start that process. There's everything from that. I can't speak from experience on things like this, but we've had a buffalo herd that we've had to manage and unwind with part of a trust. I know there's been, drug and substance abuse issues that our trust officers have had to deal with very, very personally. You might end up with a client's cell phone number or trust beneficiary cell phone number just to do that.
Well, I like the buffalo herd a little better than that. So that's an awful lot of fun. And I kind of want to manage a buffalo herd one day. That sounds like a good time.
Absolutely.
So let's chat. Let's change direction a little bit. And I know some of our listeners are younger students, and for those of you kind of maybe that are mentors or students yourselves, why don't you share a little bit about, you said you found personal finance at Kansas State. You found financial planning. What was the transition like? Like, how did you land at the trust company? What got you there?
Yeah, so it was actually through connections at K-State. So the president of the trust company is Katie C. Her husband, Martin C., runs our personal finance planning degree program. So, meeting with Martin, understanding where to really start to find my fit in the personal finance industry, he really started pushing me towards, hey, go see the trust company, go do their job shadow day. Job shadow day turned into an internship, through the lens of COVID, graduating May of 21. Trust company kept me on, and that was a pretty novel thing for that time. A lot of my cohort peers, there wasn't an internship or it was an externship.
Sure.
I served in a receptionist role for a while. I kind of jack of all trades but they kept me on. They wanted me. They saw the value in having the intern and having my input there.
So talk to me a little bit about, you said that internship was key, right? I heard, kind of the internship led to the outcome, led to staying, led to the different roles. How did you find an internship? So if just from the perspective, if you're talking right now to a couple of hundred undergrads and you're saying the story, I got this internship and from here the world opened. Talk to me about, how did you find the internship and a little bit around what advice you'd give students today?
Well, I think it starts with your program. I know Kansas State does a great job of putting students in front of internships, in front of jobs. I know we were just talking about a similar program structure that you guys are running. So just tap into your local network, but then also kind of start to think about where you want to be. We had some other students in my class that they really wanted to be in Florida. Financial planning is not that big of an industry overall by the time you're working with these fantastic college programs that are well integrated. So if they don't know somebody, they're going to know somebody who knows somebody, and they can get you in that spot.
And I think one of the conversation points you and I were having leading up to the podcast, but I think one that I want to talk about is, one of the things that I find as a professor that I kind of want to every now and then shake students a little bit is about saying yes and jumping at opportunity. And I think you had a little story about that with Trust Company and, kind of where you weren't sure if you wanted to do it or.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't know with transitioning into the personal financial planning degree path, I hadn't taken a lot of classes yet. I didn't really know if I was right for that internship. I didn't know if it was worth me applying.
Sure.
And Martin kind of pushed me off that ledge and said, go ahead and apply and see what happens. Worst case, you get some experience, you get to go through an interview process. Sure enough, I got that internship. And the special thing about the Trust Company was I was able to work part-time while I was going and taking classes. So I would take 15 credit hours and work 20 hours a week, applying exactly what I was learning in that class. And that was just an unmatched experience for me.
And I think my takeaway from that is that, you tried, right? You applied. That application led to an internship. The internship led to a career. It made it through COVID. And now here you are managing a branch office, right?
Absolutely.
And that whole story started with an application.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is a big takeaway I kind of want our younger listeners to get from the podcast. It's like sometimes that one little action kind of paves a way in a career, and you may not think at the time, right? That 2 hours you spent applying to that job had now impacted a decade of your career, right? Absolutely. And gotten you where you are today. And here we are sitting together. So I really appreciate that story.
2 things. Imperfect action is still action.
All right.
And then my dad always had a quote that the anxiety caused by the unknown is always worse than dealing with the reality.
I couldn't agree with that second one more. The
Take
anxiety
the risk,
caused by the unknown is always worse, right? And you start to see that over and over again. And I think we should all take those risks. Well, thank you very much, Garrett, for your time today. I loved having you on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.